What's going on? This is Ash here coming at you today in World War Dough. I am here joined by Jairo, who is the creative lead, the creator of World War Dough. Man, what better guy to have on to ask about the game, talk a little bit about the update. Jairo, welcome, man. How you doing?
Hey Ash, what's up? Pretty good. Working hard on the
I
game so that
bet.
you guys can get all the cool things that we're very excited to release soon.
I bet, man. There's a lot of news. You guys came out with 3 sneak peeks, unless I missed one in the intervening day. But there's a lot I want to talk to you about today in terms of where the game is at right now. Like, what are you most proud of or satisfied with right now in the game, and what do you think needs the most work?
I'm really proud of the battle experience. Honestly, I'm very proud of the battle that we made, like the gameplay that we made. I'm very proud of the unit design. Very proud of that. I'm very proud of the narrative of the game too. I think
Yeah.
that we nailed it by creating something that is also pretty unique. We wanted a lot of the games on mobile are very safe, are very family
Yes.
friendly.
Yes.
And we wanted to set ourselves apart a little by creating this universe that is of course very over the top, and has some elements of like our Latin American culture and like the insanity and the absurdity of our everyday lives. That plays a little bit into the commanders and how their relationship with their minions. But so I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of. I'm also very proud of how the team that I work with has evolved and is now like a world class team. I'm that it's awesome to work with people that have your back. It's really hard to make games. It's very hard,
Yes.
very
Yeah.
hard. And but it's great when everyone in their playing position. It's like playing for I'm Colombian, so I'm going to have to reference soccer,
Of
but it's
course.
like
Yeah.
playing for Barcelona or Real Madrid. Like everyone is in the position is like, if they get the ball, they're going to do it well. That is paramount. I'm also very proud of having a team right now that I think is super solid. What I think what are our weakest links right now? I think that I personally want, and we probably we'll talk about this later because this is something that, of course, we if we are aware of this, we're working very hard on it. I think that we need to improve some connection issues and some cohesiveness of the battle experience when it comes to messaging what is happening, because as you mentioned, there's so much stuff happening on the screen that even the slightest desynchronization or lack of synchronization will cause players to not be very clear at why they won or why they lost. This happens sometimes, and this is something that I think we can polish further, and it is definitely something that I would like to improve. So from the design side of things, I think I really want to improve our social experience beyond the one-on-one. Like I know that we have a super solid one versus one experience. I want players to feel like belonging to a club really means something. I want players in the clubs to come up with like their own, around the events that we will create in the future for clubs, like come around with their own like club rules that they want to enforce to their club members. Like I want this to be very like a very special part of playing World War Dough is I want the feeling of community and who you're
Yeah.
playing with to be very important. And I think we're a little weak on that still.
Yeah, I think that's definitely lacking, but it's a lot of this actually is actually addressed in the next update. So why don't we talk about the clubs, right? So you're having like friendly battles. You have the club brawl kind of revamped. It sounds like you can now use taunts in the club. So there's quite a lot that you're adding to clubs. So talk a little bit. Start there. Like, how do you intend to, if hopefully it sounds like everything's going to go great, but if everything goes perfectly on the club end, what will the experience be as is compared to right now?
So definitely we some of the stuff we're doing right now is like quality of life improvements and adding value to the like the day-to-day interactions that players are having. But we definitely want players to feel that their club and belonging to a particular club benefits them and benefits their progression. And so and I'm talking, this is months away. This is not 1.4, but you guys will probably see that in the future, belonging to a club will affect what maybe which cards you have access to, or which type or some sort of cards that you have access to.
Okay.
And it will be a club effort to keep, to unlock those cards, or to unlock, could be cards, could be
kind of like artifacts, like a separate classic card night type thing, maybe, or yeah.
Perhaps still early, but that is like the direction that where we want to take things, definitely.
I like that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and so that's one side of things, like belonging to a club that makes it meaningful. The other part is adding that competitive element to clubs, so that the players, so that clubs can actually play against each other just like teams do, and that way we go a little bit above just the 1-versus-1 experience. There are several ways to do that. There's several ways to do a club event. I promise you guys that we want to make it as meaningful as possible, and not just a grind, not just like see which club grinded the most. We want to create something that is pretty fun. Will probably involve maybe a battle mode or something that will definitely, make players want to coordinate with other club members in order to achieve that, and the rewards would also be worthwhile. So that's like what's in the future. I'm talking months.
Yeah. That's really cool. That kind of answers my last question for you. So we'll skip to that right now, because why not, right? Is in terms of, we're going to talk about like your favorite parts of the update. There's a couple of things I really want to hit on, but is your long-term goal kind of building on the competitive side of the game, and as it relates to club and kind of the community experience?
Yes, absolutely. I think there's two main elements to that, right? The social experience, which is of course built on clubs, and then the part of the social experience which is built on the competitive side of things. We do have plans on the competitive side of things on doing, we've been teasing Battle Jam for a while. Battle Jam is not in feature heaven. It's something that we definitely want to create, and it's something but we want to do it right.
Yeah.
So we're taking the time to make our competitive, like the really competitive side of things, super worthwhile, because we know that this game, for a game to actually be competitive and watchable and get people excited about it, it has to be, it has to fill a lot of check boxes.
Yeah.
And one of them definitely has to be that the person that is the best is the one that needs to win, and it also has to be exciting to watch. And we're making sure that as the game matures, we're like working towards that, so that when we open our competitive mode, everyone feels like super comfortable in going in and actually comparing their skills to one another.
I love that you mentioned that too, because I was talking to a former CR pro, Chief J, if you're out there watching, and he said the same thing. He said that, in his opinion, World War Do has just incredible potential in terms of the competitive scene. But he mentioned the same exact thing that you did. He just said they just need to get the foundation and make sure it's rock solid. If it's at 95%, there's no questions right now. It needs to be 100 before you can kind of build that. So I really appreciate that approach to that kind of to the competitive side of the game, rather than just rushing out something that disappoints everybody and doesn't work,
Exactly.
So that's really cool. In terms of this next update, like I said, you've released 3 sneak peeks. I'll link them for all my viewers right now in case you missed any of them. But there's new chests. There's like a whole new kind of direction in terms of the narrative-based road in this game. And it looks to be built on seasons. There's a battle pass. There's top 3 club rewards. There's a lot. I was going to say, like, what is your favorite? But that's a cheesy question. But in terms of, like, what took the most development time out of all of this? Like, what is the flagship flagship kind of thing that you want to mention first or talk about first, or is it just a lot of stuff?
No, seasons, hands down.
Okay.
Hands down seasons. Because as you say, it's going to be the boat that will deliver or the narrative of the game, and and that for us is like very it's really important. We don't want to when we release new content, be it units, skins, whatever, we want those things to have to be meaningful. We don't want just to release content for the sake of it so that players can collect something new or buy a new bundle, but we want that to have we want it to have a reason for it to be in the game, and we want it to advance the narrative of the game and the character, the arc of certain characters and what is happening to them within World War Dawn, what is happening to this like never-ending war. And so seasons is actually our first foray into, and you will see season 1 and season 2. We're slightly going to start touching into more narrative stuff, and then starting on season 3, which starts in October, we're going to be delivering this we're going to try to deliver like this quarterly narrative arcs supported on seasons and events that I think are very, very exciting and very fun. Just like, the narrative is in World War II, it's a little bit absurd, a little bit tech, a little bit science, a little bit tyranny. So for me, it's definitely seasons. I think that the other cool stuff about seasons is that it will give you, and I say this more as a player even than as a designer, it gives me something to look forward to every month, and like an activity, like a set of activities for me every month that have like a good conclusion with all the rewards that I can get, right? So it's definitely there's definitely a sense of freshness to the game that seasons bring that we definitely needed, and it took a lot of effort, creating all those different tasks that you have to do. And then creating all the new chests that come for the season and all the new content. It's been a while. We've been a while working on the seasons feature, but it's definitely what we're very proud of on 1.3.
Yeah. Do you have a release date for 1.3 yet, or any sort of ETA?
Season 2 begins tonight. Today.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Heck yeah. All
season
right.
1, I mean, season 1.
Yeah, I was like, season 2. Wait a second. Did I miss something? This is not.
I'm already in the future. I've been watching too much Dark.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right. Well, it's go time then. Awesome.
5 p.m. PST, 7 p.m. Colombia time. That's the only two times that I know, like, by memory. So I don't know what that is, like UTC or whatever. But yeah,
sure.
in 4.5 hours.
So by the time that most people are watching this, it is go time. So log in and enjoy, update your game. So talk a little bit about, we touched on the seasons. I love the seasons. I guess on the battle plan, that's what's called, right? The battle plan or the war plan? The battle plan. So obviously you've decided on like the final kind of challenges. I like that you kept it very diverse. As you said in the sneak peek video, some people are going to have no problem with certain areas, just depending on if you're a social player, if you're a competitive player, if you're, like, doesn't matter, volume player. So do you, maybe any tips for people going into seasons? Like, how should they approach it? The battle map.
There's definitely a little bit of strategy on the battle map. And it's that if you complete a line or an X on the battle map, you get extra points. So you might want to look at a horizontal or a vertical line. Both work. So you might want to look at which activities on that board are, like which line or which vertical, horizontal line, or if the X is feasible for you, that you think you can get earlier. And I would start with those. Just to that way you already have those squares anyway. Exactly. Yeah. That would be my strategy. That will be my strategy. Actually.
Okay, so go for the easiest line or X or whatever that you can find first. Do that, and then work for and kind of build up more difficult from there. That makes sense. In terms of, talk a little bit about the map effects, because that's a big change to kind of just the overall gameplay of World War II.
Yeah. So That is so again as a gamer.
Yeah.
That for me is also incredibly exciting because it definitely shifts the meta a lot depending on which map you're standing in. And so the idea for these map effects, and we started them at League 4 because we don't want to overwhelm like younger players, like earlier players with too many things to do on in battle and too many things to look out for. So we want a smooth learning curve. But starting on League 4, we actually added overtime for all the maps. We added 2 extra minutes because we were. For a while.
I'm so glad you did that.
Yeah. We knew that some matches definitely needed to be decided and not end as a draw. Particularly certain decks that play, like
little
Demolition
control
deck, exactly, control, etc. So that definitely will help give the game a little bit more excitement. But so all leagues have overtime, but starting from League 4, you will have special map effects that happen during that overtime, and they definitely will change, gameplay depending on which map you're on. So League 4, which is Frostbite Summit, will give players will give the map an effect called Howling Winds, which deals cold damage to units every few seconds. Units that are immune to freeze do not suffer that damage. So Jetty does not suffer that damage, for example, or the Jetlings. So it sort of becomes, as the time progresses, certain units will become weaker and weaker and weaker, and towers will get damaged. So it's definitely something that will add pressure to players as the time goes on. The League 5 map effect is Poison Leak, and it causes the high ground on both sides to be filled with poison. So as you guys know, poison damage deals no damage to buildings, so towers are safe, and any buildings that you place up there are safe, for example, a Rexec. But your commander will receive a lot of damage. The commander actually is very
susceptible
to poison, as most tyrants are. And units, of course, are also very susceptible to poison. So what this causes on that particular map is that the battle area pretty much becomes smaller, right? And so you're going to have these constant skirmishes in the last 2 minutes because the commander can no longer flee to the safety of the backline.
I like that. Yeah.
It definitely plays very interesting. Like on the internal play tests that we did, it's actually I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it does create very fun situations where both commanders are like,
Yeah. It's like got a battle royale feel to it, like the circle's closing. Yeah.
It's go time, boys. So so that is the League 5 map effect. The League 6 map effect is radioactivity, and it nullifies. Well, it doesn't nullify. It reduces healing by quite a bit. The healing effects, including Repairman, then his repair effect.
Yeah.
And that, is of course shifts the meta from a lot of the healing decks that are out there. Makes it a lot harder to just wait it out and heal your commander. Definitely puts more pressure on players on that map if they have like a healing deck. I play with a deck, for example, that is. It's really good, or the one that I'm playing this week it's really good on maps on League 4 and League 6, but not so good on League 5 because it relies a lot on units that you build on the backline, Vanguard, for example. And so if I get to overtime, I lose. I will lose on that on that
okay.
deck.
Interesting.
On League 5. So it depends on which deck you play, and and things get really crazy when you go into pro leagues. Because on Pro Divisions, the maps are random.
Yeah, that is insane. So you almost have to play a deck that is safe for everything, or take a chance, I guess, right?
Or
have the advantage.
Or just really understand your deck and make sure that if like some decks. So I know that I'm on a timer with the deck that I'm currently playing. If I'm playing in the Pro Divisions, I'm on the clock. So if the match ends, if I go into overtime and I'm playing on Ministry of Toxicology, I'm in trouble.
Yes, I like that. I want to ask you about some of like the pain points right now in terms of, I guess, glitches and lag. We touched about it, but first I want to give you a quick softball because I actually really want to know about this. What do you think? Maybe like a two-part question. What is your favorite card in the game, and what do you think is like an underrated card that everybody sleeps on?
That's okay. So my favorite card of the game, not gameplay wise, but like design wise and the character himself is Doctor Death. I love Doctor Death.
Okay. Yeah.
I love him. I think I think he has. I've been watching him closely because I you know, as if you've been playing for a few months, you might have noticed, especially like at the end of 2019, that we did some incremental fixes to him, like leaving the poison trail. He didn't used to do that, because I think he does have some very interesting uses as both as a commander killer and as a zone, like a zoning unit.
Okay.
And you see that, and you see players that understand that when at the higher leagues. But he's definitely like the character. I love the character, like this guy that just suicides too.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the commander tells him. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that idea. Which unit is very underrated? I think some units are still, like, some players are still understanding. Particularly some of the artifacts. I think some players are still understanding how to play them. I personally really like Shuffle, Sleight of Hand, and Vanish.
Okay.
I like.
Yeah, I never really used those, so I'm curious why you like. Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of power in cycling, in cycling faster.
Yeah.
There's of course that element of randomness to how the cycle happens when you use sleight of hand. But I also think that the utility of Banish could be a little bit underrated, and I'm still on the fence now from the designer perspective as if Banish is balanced or is a little underpowered. Just because there's certain situations where bringing back that card to your hand before it dies, and being able to use it again with the same card, side by side, is really powerful. And I don't think a lot of players realize that.
Okay.
If you look at that, like in the higher leagues, some players I've seen some Banish decks, some sleight of hand Banish decks work. But I think it's a little bit underrated still.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start using it right after this video then. Thanks for the tip. All right. So my last question again, and not to end on like a negative note, but hopefully it's a positive note. But so Jairo, talk a little bit about, like, there have been less frequently recently, at least in my experience, but there have been some complaints about, like we touched on earlier, whether it just be lag or kind of glitches here and there. You talked about with so many things going on inside a match, just a slight little, disconnection can cause everything to kind of go haywire. Are you aware of these issues, and what are your plans, you and the team, to kind of tackle those, and kind of where are you at that point?
100% aware. As a player, I'm also not only aware but annoyed.
Yeah, and actually, the first replay I went to play on this video was like, they need to fix this lag. So I'm like, oh crap, man. But it's true. So I'm going to play that replay right now, and feel free to go on it.
So we are super aware.
Yeah.
The solution to it is incremental. That is that would be like the short answer. Mm-hmm. There is no like silver bullet. There's no switch that we can turn on and off, and and we are already working to solve it. There's some improvements, actually big improvements in version 1.3 to that end.
Great.
But we're not done. Like that is, as I said, since it's incremental, it's just a first few steps, and it without getting too technical, it has to do with who has responsibilities on the client side, client server architecture, mm-hmm. right? And it has to do with migrating some of the responsibilities less from the client and more, and more to a server. Definitely, and we've been working on that for a while, and 1.3 already has some of that solved. And we will come, I have no doubt, in the very near future to a point where the tech side is totally solved, and because our tech people are amazing, and they know about this, and they're like you should see how dedicated they are to this, and I'm pretty certain that we will solve this soon. On the other hand, there's also sort of like a user experience side of things that we're also working on, and this is actually something that we plan to solve for 1.4, which doesn't have to do with like connection issues and server lag and stuff like that, but more on how we communicate, just on a very simple way, like communicate impact and damage, and how if you look at Van Gun, for example, sometimes there's like a little desynchronization between when the bullet is flying and when he actually hits the commander and the commander receives damage. Mm-hmm. That actually is what makes players sometimes feel like something was off. Like what killed me? Like
yeah.
And we are and that is there, that has some responsibility, not on the server technology side of things, but more on the UI UX side of things, and how we handle or how we are presenting the relationship between the particles and the attack speed of certain units. And we're doing a completely revamp of that system.
Yeah. So it sounds like it's still accurate and fair, but it doesn't look like it is.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as a highly competitive player, and because the game demands demands more attention than other games, clarity in that is paramount.
Needs to be there.
Yes, it needs to be totally there, so that you know that the game has your back. Sort of like am I dead? No, I'm not dead. You know it, right? Like you look for a millisecond. Will that kill me? No, it doesn't kill me. And then you can keep, you can either save the heal for later, or not drop the unit that you were thinking of dropping because you don't need the bunker right there. That sort of like split second decision making is what will help us get to the like that very solid competitive state that we want to be in.
Great. I mean, to me, the most encouraging thing is that you're first of all, you're honest. Like, you didn't tell me there was no questions I couldn't ask you before this interview, and that you're acknowledging that you're not there yet. Obviously, excited about big improvements coming like right now, pretty much with this next patch, but also that you're not. It's not going to be perfect immediately, but that your team is working on it, and there is an end game in sight to where it will be. To where you have it. I guess my last question on that kind of end, before we let you go here, is, does that cause like the amount of I don't even know, stress on the client versus your server or whatever? Does that, because I noticed that my device gets rather hot sometimes when I'm playing for a long stretch in a row. Will that get fixed as well, or is that just something that comes with the intensity of the game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, both actually.
Okay.
Since the game is 3D based and it's not sprites and 2D, right?
Yeah.
It demands a lot more from your phone. That is always going to happen and will be inevitable. Mm-hmm. That said, for 1.4, we're also working very hard on optimizations that should help save battery and hopefully reduce how hot the phone can get sometimes when playing. Because they're sort of related sometimes, but we are not. Again, this is also very incremental, and we're not done yet with that endeavor. We're super aware that,
great.
Especially on phones that are a little bit older, the game is also very demanding, and we're trying to make this as accessible as possible to everyone. Awesome. So that is also a track that we are currently working on.
Well, it's great to hear that, and I can't wait. I mean, it's great that you guys again acknowledge, what needs to be improved in the game, whether it be from the clan, the club experience, or from just the technical pain points in terms of lag and stuff. And man, I just can't wait for the update, man. I can't wait for in 4 hours to try it out and just kind of go from there. So, any final thoughts or words before we let you go here?
No, I'm really grateful for the opportunity to discuss these things, because I know a lot of the people in the community have these questions, and And again, as a gamer myself, I know that there's a lot of questions about the games that I love that I want to ask the devs, and sometimes hearing that the devs are aware of are sharing the same
Yeah.
questions or the same concerns that the community is, and that there's actually a plan to solve those. Makes me feel better and more in love with the game. So I hope that we were able to solve some of those. As you know, we really do read all the feedback, or pretty much all the feedback that you guys send us. We try to be as connected to the community as we can. I look, like, one of my favorite things to do is just look at the video and the content that you guys produce. I love doing that, just because it helps me understand, if we are sharing the same experience of the game, and if the experience that we want to deliver to you guys is coming through or not.
Yeah, well, I love that, and keep up the great work, Jairo. It's been great to chat about learning more about you, learning more about the team, and it kind of makes me kind of reinvigorated and excited for the future, not just this next patch, but also 1.4 and beyond. So thanks again for being so generous with your time and coming on the channel. I really appreciate it.
For sure, man. Keep playing World War II. I'll see you in the battlefield, dude.
All right, we'll see you. Take care, man. Bye.
Bye.